Hi there, Lindsay here, the Frugal Crafter, and today I'm going to show you how to make these really sweet little bird nest brooches. Aren't they cute? I'd seen them here and there on the internet, and I thought, I really need to learn how to make these because they're so adorable. They look really nice with natural stones, pearls. This is some jasper there. It's a great way to use those few leftover beads you have from a project, and it's a great use for precious stones because you don't need to use that many beads. Here's a pair of earrings I made with some gold colored copper wire and just some white glass beads. Here I have some cat's eye beads here with just a little bit of wire there and a little pair of earrings, those little nests. So they're so very easy, and I'm going to show you how to make them today. You'll find them very addictive, I am sure. So, and I want to show you those too, those little robin's eggs. I just did some glass pearls and just some 20 gauge wire there on some little ear hooks. So as you can see, I was a little obsessed and I made a bunch of these. I even like them with the mismatched beads and funky colored wire. So I kind of made it my mission this week because I was so obsessed with making these that I wanted to find cheap wire because wire has gotten quite expensive, especially copper wire. So what I found is this right here. This is by Darice. It is a copper wire that's silver colored. It is 30 yards, and it was $2.19 a spool at AC Moore this week because it was $3.99 and it was 40% off. But their regular price is lower than Joann's and other stores that I found, so AC Moore does seem to have the best price on copper wire. They also have this colored copper wire. I'll turn it around so you can see the package. It's their store brand. Well, no, it's Nicole. It's not their store brand, but it's copper wire. It's colored. They have two different gauges. You get 5 yards of each of the 28 gauge wire on each spool, and you get 3 yards of the 22 gauge wire. And these were 40% off as well, so these were like $6.50 each. So it's a pretty reasonable way to get started in wire jewelry. You can also find other craft wires like this. It doesn't say, this was at Joann's, it didn't say what it was made of, so I put a magnet on it and it stuck. So it's some sort of steel. It's supposed to be anti-tarnishing, but just so you know, I think copper is probably a pretty safe bet, and it's not too expensive, and AC Moore seemed to have the best price. Or online, I saw that Consumer Crafts had a good price. And there's also this I picked up at Joann's, which was affordable. I'll flip it over. A bunch of beads, but then you got the 5 yards each, 20 gauge, 30 yards in total. They have 5 yard spools and different colors, and I paid $5 because I had a 50% off coupon, so obviously $10 regular. So there are some options for some cheap wire. So let's get on to the tutorial now that we're 2 minutes and 58 seconds into it. First thing you want to do, and I like to work right from the spool, is to get your wire. And I'm going to zoom in a little bit because you're going to want a little more detail here, I think, while we're working. And there we go. Move this out of the way. So what you want to do is string on the beads that you want to work with, and I think these little turquoise beads will be pretty. They look kind of like robin's eggs, so I'm just going to put these 3 on. Sometimes you'll need to go through your beads a bit and make sure your holes are drilled all the way through. Sometimes you end up with beads that are not holy. Oh my gosh, I've never strung beads so slow in my life. Alright, and for materials, you're going to need a pair of Needlenose pliers. These actually have a cutter on them, so I could just use this. But this is like the first jewelry tool you should buy. A pair of spring action Needlenose pliers that have a wire cutter on it, and also it's got a little flat part, which is really handy for smooshing wires flat. I'm going to show you this. These are an example of ones that aren't spring loaded, and they're really they're harder to use after a while because they don't spring back. You have to kind of hang them so they fall apart or pull them apart with your fingers. So I recommend something that's either got a spring or a little, piece of metal in there so they spring back when you use it. And you'll also probably want one of these tools if you're going to use with wire. It's just a nylon jaw plier so you can smooth out your wire. But for this project, you can get by with just this. Alright, and I'm just going to bend these in kind of like a triangle. And then I am going to wrap my loose end and try to get it in that little spiral that I made to begin with. I might need to get in there with my pliers. There we go. And then I'll just use my pliers to tuck that wire underneath. I just want to make sure it's not going to come apart on me. That looks pretty good. All right, and then all you need to do now is just start wrapping. You want to stay pretty close to the beads. I made a nest. I put that on a ring base. I used some Aleene's jewelry glue which glues in about 30 seconds actually, and it's kind of thick, so it does marry odd, you know, like this weird nest has all kinds of different levels. It married it to that ring blank very well, and I've worn it out and about because I want to make sure it wasn't going to fall apart, because I'm thinking about selling some of these at the craft fair that I signed up to do this spring. So I have to wear a sample piece out and make sure that it's not going to fall apart, because I would hate for that to happen. Somebody to buy my stuff and have it fall apart on them. So I'm just twirling this around, and really it's up to you how much of a nest you want. I like it kind of full, so I'm just twirling, twirling, twirling. As in like robin's eggs to remind you of spring. I don't know who originated this idea. I was looking through an Oriental trading catalog, and they had a little kit that made like a few pair of earrings in it, and I tore it out and I took it to Joann's with me last week when they had the big coupon promotion, and I just was walking up and down the aisles and trying to match up the beads and the wire, and made out pretty well. Coupons, it's great to use your coupons when you're buying a set of wire like this, because then you can get quite a variety at low cost. Because it adds up. I mean, if you go online and you start like putting spools of wire in your basket, before you know it, you've spent quite a bit of money. Alright, once you've made this as full as you want it, you want to snip off, probably leave about a foot tail. When we go to wrap this, you can either add a jump ring on later, like, let's see, I'm going to just find one that I put a jump ring on, just to show you the difference. Like this, like on this earring, I just put a jump ring on after the fact. Can you see that very well? Ah! Oh my goodness, the camera can only do so much. Can't focus when I'm moving it all around. Let's see. So there I have a jump ring. Alright, it's pretty easy. You don't have to plan for that. You can put it in wherever you have a loose wire. So that looks really nice. But also the wrapped loop looks nice too. Let me find this one's got a wrapped loop here. Let's just give the camera a second to focus. So that looks good too. It's all about what you're comfortable with, and if you have any wire left after you wrapped around the edges. So now that we've got it all wrapped around, we've got that nest shape, what you want to do is come up from underneath and make sure you go in between the two beads, and so you're inside of all the wire loops, even that first one you made when you strung your beads together. And then you're going to wrap it around 3 times. I'm going kind of slow because I keep looking up into my monitor to make sure that I am in frame, because if you can't see what I'm doing, it's not going to be that helpful, is it now? Like you can answer me. I'm all wound up on Girl Scout cookies and caffeine right now. Darn those vegan Thin Mints. I haven't had a Thin Mint since I was a kid, and then this year they made them without any dairy, and so I can eat them. And I've done my fair share to support the Girl Scout troops of our area. They are good. They're good, and they don't make you sweet sick, which is too bad because you just can't stop. See, I'm not kidding. Look, Thin Mints right there, within arm's reach. My cup of coffee. It's surprising I'm this mellow. I think I get mellowed out when I'm playing with the beads. All right. You know, these do go very quick. Can you imagine how quickly this would be if I wasn't trying to chit chat and make a video at the same time? And then I'm going to go and wrap between these last 2 beads here. And really, don't try to make it perfect, because the more imperfect it is, the better it's going to look. 'Cause it's going to look a lot more natural. The messier the better. It's going to look more like a bird's nest. You vary the size of wire and beads you use. Like this right here is 24 gauge. And this is very easy to work with. And I even saw some tutorials online where people used galvanized steel wire from the hardware store to do this. And, something like this isn't going to come in direct contact with your skin, so that might be fine. But it might get kind of a weird haze on it after a while. So this, if you can get this on sale with a coupon, it's going to be about the same price as what you'd pay at the hardware store for the steel wire. And this is going to be a lot easier to work with. All right, so there we have our little nest. Now I'm going to show you how to make a loop. So you want to use your pliers. That will give you a nice round loop, and I'm going to bend it kind of towards myself a little bit, and I want to slide it up. You know what? No, I think this is big enough. I was going to say I would go with my other pliers because they're a little bit bigger, but this is kind of small, so I don't want too big of a loop. And then I'm going to wrap my wire around my pliers because that's going to give me a nice round shape. And then I'm going to wrap it around itself a couple times. And then I'm going to wrap it, I'm going to go around the pendant a couple times and through where I was wrapping the bird's nest. And that will give me a nice secure loop. Of course, that's only one, you know, this would be good for an earring. I wouldn't do this with such skinny wire for a pendant because I don't think it would last. I think that would be the weak point and that might break. So, so just a word to the wise there. And then I'd finish off with just a couple more wraps around the that loop again just to secure it. And you want to trim off your excess. And then curl anything you have left underneath. So I actually like to use my little flush cutters here, my diagonal pliers. And then I'm just I like to take whenever there's an end and just kind of curve it under and smush it in because that'll keep it from poking somebody and it will save you from having to file it down. I'm just going to kind of tuck that right in underneath so it's not going to poke anybody. I know, lots of finesse there, eh? Okay, so there you have it. It's a cute little bird's nest brooch. You can make it. This is small, probably more like an earring size. I'll probably make another one of these other 3 beads and have a pair. Make it with bigger beads. You can just do one large bead in a nest, like an ostrich egg. It's fun. Just use the beads you have and have fun with it. Again, I use 24 gauge wire. You can use anywhere between 20 and 24 gauge, and it will work very well. If you have any questions, leave a comment on my blog or on my YouTube channel, and I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching. Until next time, happy crafting.